Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos.
Greetings, it's Feather, and it's not Friday, it's Saturday, Christmas Eve day. I couldn't get a video up yesterday because I was in Bazinji hell. Rabbit Man and I had to catch our dog. They dug out, got loose. We were exhausted and no way in the mood to do a video. So, here I am in my kitchen, and my craft is showing you how I make our Christmas dinner because Dancing Rabbit and I had already done all our crafts a couple of weeks ago and didn't film them. So this is really, it's crafty food. So I'm in my kitchen with my Slavic Christian witch, even though I'm making French food. This is my sister's Christian witch. And getting in the mood. And here we'll begin our preparation of crafting a beef stew. The first step is preparing your beef broth, which I do with the little beef cubes with no MSG and salt. I like to do it myself and use my water because the store-bought kind is too expensive and a lot of packaging. This is salt pork. I have boiling water and I'm going to blash the salt out of it, and that takes about 5 minutes. So it boils for about 5 minutes, and then we'll get it out, put it on a paper towel, let it drain, and cut it in strips. Another long process in this meal is taking the skin off the onion, the pearl onions. I use the pearl onions because it just makes a better stew. I mean, I could cut up a good onion, and it's prettier, and it is Christmas, and it should be special. So you do about 18 to 24 of these little onions. Okay, now it's been a little over 5 minutes and the salt pork is probably unsalted enough. Get a slotted spoon and just I transfer it over to the chopping block, let it drain, pat it dry a little bit, and I don't like cutting pork, so I'm going to let Dancing Rabbit do it. It's just my little weirdness with pork I have. And here we are with Dancing Rabbit slicing the pork rind. Salt pork. It's all pork to me. Sauteing a tablespoon or so in my skillet. I use stainless steel on this, so I just get better results in with my cast iron. And when it's melting down slowly, and stop. Salt pork is nice and crispy, so I'm removing it. Now as this is drying out, we're going to use the fat to saute the onions. The spitty part, you put your onions in, and I put everything in slowly because I'm an old wise woman. This is kind of a medium-high heat, and we were just kind of shake the pan around and let them sizzle and brown. Nothing is kind of evenly. And this just takes a while. Okay, the little onions are pretty well brown. Onions are, everyone says brown evenly. In my experience with this, it's very hard to brown these little puppies evenly, and since they're going to go in the oven for a while. The French were very cosmetic. They wanted everything to look beautiful, too. As I do, but I really like it to taste good. So, these are now in the roasting pan. I'm going to pour just a teeny bit of fat over them. Maybe a little bit more. And we're going to use this fat to brown the meat in later. But our next step, onions are going to go in for about 30 minutes until tender, uncovered in a 350-degree oven. One of the most important steps is patting the beef dry. And this is one of the most important steps really in the recipe, because it just browns more evenly. And some more paper. And I didn't bring enough paper towels over, so they're being handed to me magically by the magic hands. This is a lot of meat. This is about 3 pounds because it's for our Christmas dinner and I wanted some leftovers. And it's just the dancing rabbit and I and my oldest son, because none of us traveled these holidays because it just costs too much and it's too crazy. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes, so we're going to check the onions. Oh yeah, I think they're quite ready. Have to reach over for the knife. Yes, perfect. So now I'm going to set these aside to cool and keep them in the same pan, and I'm going to begin preparing the mushrooms. The mushrooms have been prepared and sliced. I do them a little thicker than most people because I just do. I'm going to saute them in this skillet of butter. Doesn't take long to get them soft, and you don't crowd them too much. Okay, they're about ready, so I'm going to take them off the heat and put them with the onions. I'm going to brown the meat, hoping there's enough fat. Since it's Christmas, I get a little more expensive meat. And I did get a lot for this little skillet. Might have to do this in 2 shifts. Okay, now last of the beef is browned, and we're going to put it in the casserole. Now we're adding the carrots and the onion to the beef pan to saute. Whoops. Always a mishap. Oh, that's kind of waste not, want not, as my mother said. sauteing away. I'm going to cover the vegetables now to soften them up, and I'm going to add 2 bay leaves from our garden. I do have a bay leaf tree, but not thyme, into the beef. Now I've got approximately 2 tablespoons of flour that I'm going to sprinkle in the vegetables and kind of making a sauce. It's not a roux, it's a sauce. Let me film all this. Now I'm adding the beef stock to the carrot and onion. I just eyeball this. Okay, I'm adding the wine now. Chianti is what I use. It's a little bolder wine, not real sweet. And it's less expensive than a Burgundy. So I'm stirring that now and adding the tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons. And again, you use your fine motor skills of stirring a while. Now adding the salt pork that's been crispy and setting out into the mixture, and some garlic. Doing a little bit of salt. I've never measured pepper, I mean. A little bit of salt. I'm going to stir it around a little bit. And I'm going to add the vegetables that we had sauteed earlier. Stir it up a little bit. That's pretty too. A little bit more pepper for good measure. Now I'm going to turn the burner down and pour this wonderful wine, carrots, and vegetables over the meat. Woohoo! As she said. Okay. It's not completely covered, so I'm going to add a little bit more wine and beef broth. Woo! Now I just mop the floor. Then we'll set the lid on it and put it in a 325-degree oven. Or 350. I'm kind of blending 2 recipes today. It's the Southern Cotton Country Cookbook and also my Southern ways and my Julia Child way. So, a little bit more wine. I think that'll do it. Now I'm getting the cover. Is this right? Putting it on. Scooting the portable down the inside. Put it on the lower. Oh, it's heavy. Voila! Timer 2.5 hours, and this is where I finish off the last of the Chianti.